Okay, I've got this little clip from Michael Moore on CNN talking to Pierce Morgan, and I wanted to share it with you guys and discuss it. Hold on one sec.
This way. Let's say George Zimmerman's right when he says that Trayvon Martin was trying to kill him.
So he wants to discuss it, and he wants to give us the benefit of the doubt that George was right, that Trayvon was really trying to kill him. So we're giving George the benefit of the doubt now that he's on his back and he's being someone's attempting to kill him. And what he's going to say is that because he continued following in the direction Trayvon went, he forfeited any right to self-defense. He's going to say that because the police said that we don't need you to go that way or to follow him, that he forfeited his right to defend his life. So let's listen to this.
Right? But it was George Zimmerman who was told by the police to quit stalking this boy.
Of course, we know stalking never occurred, and we've proven that in several different videos and conversations that we've had. If you just look up stalking in Florida law, just go to Google and type in Florida law stalking, and you'll find out that it was nowhere near stalking.
And he was the one who was committing the infraction against the law by...
So now he's saying that George was committing an infraction against the law by following Trayvon, which is not true. There was no infraction. He didn't break any law. He has every right to follow. In fact, the property that he was on is his. He owns it, along with everybody else in that neighborhood. All the neighbors own that property together. It's a private neighborhood. The sidewalk is private. So he had every right to ask about who happened to be walking on his sidewalk.
And going after Trayvon Martin. Doesn't Trayvon Martin actually have the right to kill George Zimmerman?
Now he's suggesting that people who are being followed have a right to kill anyone who happens to be following them. And he says it's because the police told him not to that Trayvon had that right. And I don't know how he assumes Trayvon knew that the police told him not to. But apparently a lot of people, and this is on the internet, people believe, they really believe that they have a right to kill somebody because they feel that they're being followed for whatever reason. I mean, if you're being followed by somebody, you don't have the right to kill them. You can't just kill people because you feel nervous.
Is stalking him, and the police have told him not to stalk him?
And there is an irony that it's George Zimmerman using Florida's stand your ground defense, when in fact, as you say, you could equally argue that Trayvon Martin may well have been doing the same thing.
And here's Pierce suggesting that Trayvon Martin had a right to kill somebody who dare follow him through a private neighborhood. Let's face it, if you're walking through a private neighborhood, even if you happen to be a neighbor there, you're going to assume people will walk up to you and say, "Hey, what's up? Are you from around here?" Because that's what private neighborhoods do. That's why they have a gate. They like the fact that only people who live there are allowed to be there. And if you don't belong there, they can tell you to leave.
Been defending himself against somebody who he saw was armed and was
he has the
following
right
him.
to do.
Now he's suggesting that he saw that he was armed. You couldn't see that gun in there, behind his back, underneath of a jacket. That's why we call it concealed. See, this is another thing. Both of them are telling these truths, these falsehoods. And people are out there listening to this thinking, well, it's on CNN, it must be true. It's all bull.
And didn't know what this guy was up to. I mean, we don't know the facts. It's important to say, but it is ironic.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter
you have
because
the guy
Zimmerman
with the gun.
cannot claim that as a defense.
Right.
He was trying to kill me. Yes, he might have been trying to hurt you because you were stalking him. You were breaking the law.
And there's the problem that he has. He believes that that George was breaking the law, and that once George broke the law, he didn't have a right to defend his life, which is not true. This is just not true, not in any state. Every single state gives people the right to defend their life. So if you get into a fight, let's say you're on the street and there's a guy out there and he's saying rude things to your girlfriend, and you go over there and say, I'm going to knock you out if you don't back off. And so he steps up and says, let's go. So you're going at it with him. And he gets you down. He's got you down on the ground. And now he's bashing your head into the concrete. And you know you're about ready to die. You know it. And you're crying out for help, and you're begging, help, help. 40 seconds at least that we have on the recording. More than that, of course, because there were people that said it went on long before the first recording got picked up. So you have to answer that one question, Mr. Moore, if you want to argue your point and be accepted. How is it that a person can not claim self-defense if their life is in danger and they're begging for help? At what point did Trayvon have the right to kill him because he was being followed? Did George have to forfeit his life? Did George have to stop struggling? Because there were two options. George, you're telling me that George either had to die, which would have got him out of trouble, or go to jail, because the option was him or me. You know, if it's either going to be the guy that's attacking or the guy that's getting attacked. George is getting attacked. Either way, it doesn't matter who's George is trying to escape. He's begging for help. That right there tells you that he had given up the fight. So if there was a fight going on, George had stopped and was asking to stop and to get away, and Trayvon refused. That's why Trayvon forfeited his right, because George had every right to save his life. When he got to the point where he was fearing for his life, and Mr. Moore just said that we're going to give him that for this argument's sake, that he was fearing for his life, since we're giving him that, you can't argue that point, right? Not in this debate. That's not a question we can even debate. He's in fear for his life. We've already agreed to that. Good talking to you guys.